first of all, give us your reaction to the latest actions from the administration.
Well, look, the bottom line is I don't think tariffs are a smart approach when we're trying to keep our economy growing. This is actually going to constrict our economy when we're trying to export more across the world. And I'm all for targeting China's bad practices, but we need our allies behind us. And we also need to make sure we're not targeting we're putting tariffs on the right types of products. For example, part of the list that the president is targeting on tariffs includes medical devices. Even the president's own report does not identify medical devices as being significant with intellectual property theft. We have a surplus, actually, in trade. So targeting those products does not make sense and could backfire on our economic growth. The good news is they have listened. We've had a bipartisan letter of 40-plus members in the House that have urged the administration not to include some of those items. We've made some progress, but there are still items that cause concern for a lot of manufacturers in the United States.
So, Congressman, my question, I guess, is to what extent are Republicans really registering their concerns overall about tariffs in this approach to trade with the White House? Or are they saying we really have to toe the line?
No, I think we're stepping out and saying, look, if we really want to keep this economy growing, we need to have a robust trade agenda that allows us to break down the barriers and sell American goods and services. But we also know that that includes keeping our allies on our side. And if these are just broad-based tariffs on just aluminum and steel, for instance, on Canada, Mexico, or Europe, that presents declines an opportunity to have a united front against China. Well, so that's where our concern. We are stepping out on that.
Exactly. But on the, as you say, broad-based tariffs on steel and aluminum, which have alienated our allies, as you correctly say, there's some movement afoot on the Hill, maybe to curtail the president's power under 232, which is what he invoked for that. Are you in support of that?
Well, I'm in support of actually leveraging Congress's constitutional obligation, as we are under the Constitution. It's our duty to impose tariffs. So we do need to know that we have to have those provisions signed into law. We would need the president's support ultimately to do that. But there are other avenues that we can, as an independent branch of government, legislative branch, to exert some influence on the administration. So we're exploring those options, and we need to have that dialogue. We need to have a framework where we're all working together to keep the economy growing and not slowing down.
Would you give us some details on those options?
Well, some options, I suppose, could include, obviously, we could exercise 232 authority, giving it strictly back to Congress, but we could also make appropriations to the Department of Commerce, to appropriations to other areas of the administration, subject to approval or disapproval of certain tariffs or trade policy. Now, we don't want to get into that tit for tat right now, but obviously it is our prerogative as an independent constitutional legislative branch to have that type of influence. So we're going to keep those conversations going to get the right policy in the end.
What about the president's attempt to make a deal with a Chinese company, ZTE, because we have seen Congress trying to block that from happening. Will you be able to succeed there?
Well, the Senate is moving forward an initiative, from my understanding, as an amendment to another bill that would actually not allow the administration to reopen those negotiations. If you have a company from China, ZTE, that has violated policies in the past, they should be subject to those fines. So that is our leverage that we constitutionally have the obligation to use. I think you will see bipartisan support for that, by the way, so stay tuned.